as Ebony wrote a Facebook post in which she accused you of soliciting sex from her as a minor at ages 13 and 16 years old. So what do you say to that allegation?
I say that, um, you know, when I heard that, and I didn't actually read it until last Thursday, what she actually said. I don't know the woman, number one.
So you're saying you never met her, you don't know her?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know her. I have no idea who she is. But I'm familiar with that pain. I'm familiar with that trauma. I'm familiar with people who are crying out for help. I'm familiar with the lack of regard for this population, which is, again, my point. And so when I heard it, for me, to hear something so heinous, right, number one, and then to see someone post something with no proof of anything, and then to see the world embrace, or a portion of the world embrace it and pass that around, that toxicity speaks to exactly why I do the work that I do, right? And so it's an oxymoron almost. It's like, wow, the first cisgender man who stands up with a community then gets attacked by that community. But that's true for anybody who's ever stood up for oppressed people. It's happened to Gandhi, and it's happened to Mandela. It's happened to Marcus Garvey. It's happened to Malcolm X. It's happened to anyone who would say, I'm going to stand up for these oppressed people. Think about who we are, right? There was a time we couldn't drink from a water fountain. We couldn't sit in the bus. Think about how ridiculous that is. And so for me, having a view of a community that I grew up with and see the suffering, the very thing that motivates me to help people out of is something that someone tried to accuse me of.
I wanted to ask you.
I want to finish the point. So the point is, to be on the other side of that tells me that the work has to continue and the blessing will be greater because the truth will always outweigh a lie, right? And so the truth is people are suffering. The truth is that there are kids in the street, right? But the other truth is that for my entire life, I'm someone who has been working with young people since I was 16 years old, making sure that there are better pathways for other people. And so that's a very loaded question for you to ask me that, and we discussed that before.
And I actually told you that I would ask you that question.
Yeah.
And so I asked that question.
Yeah.
And it's not a loaded question. I told you
No,
I
it
was
is.
going to tell you up front
It is.
that I did tell you about it.
Yeah.
And we both agreed to it.
Yeah.
I told you that.
But it's still, but see, even we sat for 4 hours the other day, right, and discussed this. And so even when you ask me in real time to even the suggestion of it, right, because there's so many implications in that, right? There's legal.
And I had another follow-up point to that since you added on. What would you say to people who feel that even in this allegation, you are centering yourself in regards to being someone who stands up for a community? I think that's the way that a lot of people would perceive that, bringing up the famous people who have done great things in civil rights, and you centering yourself in the middle of an allegation.
Yeah, this is a bullet wound, right? We're on 45th Street in Broadway. I got shot 5 blocks from here at the age of 15, right? So a quarter of an inch over, I would have been paralyzed from the neck down, a half inch over, I'd be dead. So since January 18th, 1983, I've never taken a second for granted to be alive. I'm very, I can't even count how many people are no longer here that I grew up with, that I've known. That number's, I don't even know how many it is, right? And so life is precious, and each moment is precious. And so for someone who has long understood the power of thought and the power of intention, the ability to manifest my life the way I want it to. I've never had a job that I didn't want. I've never had to just work to make money. Every single thing I've done in my life, whether I was a bike messenger, working with young people, making movies, TV, working in education, working with the criminal justice system, working on the environment, working with fathers, any social issue, any professional pursuit, every single thing I've done, it's because it's an intention. And I follow the intention, and I chase the purpose, right? And so to stand up in the face of someone saying that you're this, when I know I'm this, I also felt, wow, that's kind of how it feels like to be transgender, right? Can you imagine walking into the world, looking the way you and I do, but feeling inside that something is not lining up, and you need to address that with the way you present in the world, and you don't look so good.
I don't think I could ever, or anybody who's cisgender could ever place themselves in a trans person's position.
I think we can, because I had to do it on New York Undercover. So on New York Undercover, we did an episode where people were killing transgender people. So we actually had to dress and go into the world.
That's fiction, though. That's not real
No,
life.
but you're missing my point. You're making your point. The point that I'm making is that you asked me, what does it feel like to stand up in the face of this? And I'm telling you that if I'm this, and someone's calling me this, that is akin to a transgender woman being called a man.
Do you really make that comparison?
I do. You may not make it, but I'm making the comparison because I sat in it. I know what it's like for people to try to yell at me and tell me I'm gay, to tell me that I'm a pedophile, to tell me what I'm not. And I have to stand up to that. And the only thing that I can do is stand up with the truth. And so when you feel that pain, when you walk down the street and people are basically saying, fuck you, and you still move on your purpose, that's empowering. As painful as it is, it's also empowering. And so when I talk to my transgender friends, and they have people tell them what they're not, when they're telling you that they are, that's painful for them too. So if I'm gonna be the person, the first one, to stand up and take the hits, I know what it feels like. And I feel I have the right to say, yes, as I stand alongside you, I do understand your pain, not on an intellectual level, but on an experiential level. I was walking down the street the other day and someone said, happy birthday, AIDS victim. They screamed that out a window to me. I lost work because of this, just like trans people. I have people look at me sideways, just like trans people. I have people calling me gay, just like trans people. So I have the right to tell you exactly how it feels if I choose to stand up with these folks that I love and appreciate and consider part of my humanity.
Okay.
And I can tell you what it feels like.
I understand. So moving forward with this, to kind of rally out, fill out the rest of these questions before we move forward. Since this allegation, too, if you search your name on social media, some sex workers have come forward saying that you've long solicited sex from trans women, and because of this, you've been criticizing for fetishizing trans women and not having intimate and loving relationships with them. So what would you say to that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So we've gone on social media and we found people who have said this, and so
social media now is the truth. That's the
people who have
repository.
faces,
Yeah.
their faces on it. So we were just asking if you had anything to say about that. Okay, so going on to, what do you say to trans black women who say that you're centering yourself and that you're being opportunistic and focusing on your attraction as opposed to their issues, and without proving that you're ready to do the work? So what would you say to that?
So you and I sat for 4 hours the other day,
Correct.
and we decided how we were going to approach this.
Not,
And
we
said-
went through a, we went through a
decided
number
how
of
we were going to approach
questions.
this, bro.
We went through a number of
We
questions.
decided
went through
how
a
we were
number
gonna
of
approach this.
questions,
And
And
we
we're
said
actually
that we-
recording, and the more you talk, the better, the worse it looks for you. So what I'm asking is that we're having a
What did you
conversation.
say?
I said the more that we're talking, the more I'm just concerned. So I'm generally
you just
concerned.
say?
I said that the more that it looks bad for you. That's
Really?
what I'm saying. Yes, sir.
This looks bad for me.
Yes, because
Check
I'm
this
asking you
out.
a number
No,
of
no.
questions.
We're done, bro.
Okay.
We're done. It looks bad for me because I chose to come here and speak to you about what you do and what I've done. It looks bad for me. It's a setup. I don't like this.
Okay.
We said that we were going to focus on policy.
And we
said
did, and
we're
we
still
also,
gonna
and we,
focus
and
on
we also,
community,
and we
and you
also
stand on
said,
allegations,
and we,
homie.
and
I
we
don't
also
appreciate
said,
this at all.
and no, we had a conversation
No,
about
I
a
don't
wide
appreciate
range of
this shit
things.
at all, homie.
Questions did feel like they were not.
I don't. This is not what we
They're
fucking
not
discussed for
going
4
to
fucking
go.
hours. You
They're
want to say
not-
allegations,
Okay,
homie?
okay.
The fuck is wrong with you?
It's starting to just.
The fuck is wrong with you?
There
We
are.
sat for 4
Yeah,
fucking hours.
did
We
sit-
sat
Okay,
for
we
4
sit-
okay,
fucking
okay,
hours.
We did
okay,
sit for
okay.
hours.
Yeah, with positive.
We sat for 4
Okay.
fucking hours. And you gonna stand some fucking allegations? Fuck you.
The fuck is wrong with you? This is my fucking life! The fuck is wrong with you? Yo.
I have your stuff. I have your stuff.
Can you guys not? This is like.
That's fucked up, man.
True. We have like.
The fuck is wrong with you, man? We fucking sat for 4 hours!
All right, bro.
Don't tell me shit!
Let's keep it professional.
Don't tell me about this. This isn't professional. This is life!
His intention is not to antagonize you. We're trying to.
No, we discussed the process. We said we would start.
Let's bring
No,
it down.
no.
We can talk about it. Let's bring it
No,
down.
my man.
Just so we had an office setting, nobody's here to
Listen.
argue with you. Express
No.
yourself, but let's keep it professional.
Listen, you're not the one being
I
called
understand,
names in the
brother,
street.
But he's not trying to call you.
We're not-
He's
We
trying to have a
discussed
conversation.
how we would flow. We said we would start with policy. We said we would talk about community, and then we said we would talk about our personal lives. We said we would do 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. You stayed on the allegations, B. I want the cards. You can't use any
Okay.
of it. There's no release your signs. I want the fucking cards out of all these cameras.
We can't
We
give
can't
you our
use it without the
cards.
release.
You're giving